companies nowadays are just remaking games or remastering games. There are literally like no new games nowadays.
At least coming from like the big AAA space.
Yeah, we're excluding indies.
Yeah.
But
Well, we will
there's
cover that.
literally there's no new games nowadays. Everything is literally the same or literally a remake or remaster.
Yeah.
Just like Halo. Oh man, the combat evolved.
Silly. It caused us so much pain just remembering the fucking gameplay stuff that we saw.
It's only because it only pains me because 343 now Halo Studios have stated
2, 1. Hello, everybody. Tonight we are doing another podcast episode today during a Memorial Day week. At least for us as of recording, it's a Thursday.
That's pre-Memorial Day, bro. Memorial Day is next Monday.
I know.
Ignore Brian. We're still early.
I know. It's a bit still something that I need to actually be more diligent on, like the recording when I should be, so that I can prep videos for whenever it's released. You know.
Ignore Brian.
Yeah. Oh yes. Any big plans coming? Actually, we're already doing stuff together this weekend. That's why I wanted to record this early, so that way I have time. So, while we're to have time too, I think we should probably touch up on some of the things that I probably said last time too. For correction too, I have realized my honest mistake. LeBron James is not retired, although it is said officially that he is going to be thinking very hard about what his next season plan is going to be. Albeit, I think he should retire, but at the same time, if he still wants to play, let him be, I guess. Although, to be fair, we're already seeing that he should be retiring soon.
That's true. I mean, he's definitely reaching that age.
Yeah, so for correction aside too from my last video, yes, I look like a dumbass for kind of going with the narrative that I thought he was retired. But we all make
about being a
mistakes.
dumbass, bro. This is the Hot or Trash podcast.
I know.
Hot takes and trash opinions.
I want to correct myself on that one because I was actually just fucking wrong there. I like to at least make hot. I like to
realistically not wrong, bro. He's definitely, like I said, he's towards the age of retirement. So it's not a wrong statement.
Yeah, it was just at the time being, it just wasn't official, right? So yeah. Regardless, ever, if anybody would be confused by that, I'm terribly sorry, but we will be watching the NBA news coming forward too, because I'm at least happy OKC is out. Fuck them.
I mean, OKC is out.
I thought they were out because Spurs. No. Oh, they're not out. Ah, son of a bitch.
Only his second game.
Ah, son of a bitch. Please, Spurs, kick their asses. Wait, who won the second game?
The Thunders. The Spurs won the first game. The Thunders is winning. Who won the second?
Damn it. Okay. Well, if anything, I'll just keep watching the NBA until then. So I'll wait until the season's over, then look back all the fucking footage. So moving on from that too, I think we should talk about some of the stuff that's currently around the lime or the grapevine when it comes to gaming stuff too. Especially right now, there is now the release spec of the Steam machine.
Oh yeah, what's in there?
Well, let me go ahead and pull that shit up because it's, generally speaking, it is only hardware that I believe majority of the people, whenever they took their survey, it's pretty much like that spec hardware, where at least for what I mean. Oh shoot, no, this is not the Steam machine that I was looking for. This is something else entirely. Okay, one second, because there was a previous attempt for a Steam machine, if I remember.
Maybe, I don't remember.
So as of right now too, we're set to see Valve is going to be releasing some type of Steam Valve or Steam based console, which to a lot of people that would sound pretty exciting if that's something that, like, if it's an affordable price. However, the way how pricing is working these days too, I don't think we're going to realistically see that. I've seen a lot of cope too that they want this machine to be like $400 to $500. We will see. That's really unrealistic, but let's see the specs here. So the CPU that's running is both CPU and GPU are semi-custom AMD hardware, such as it's going to have 12 threads, 6 cores, around 4.8 gigahertz, and the GPU runs itself. It's their RDNA 3 28 CUs, CUs, 2.45 gigahertz max sustained clock, whatever that means for me. But all in all, too, it means that the system itself is going to be running off of 16 gigabytes of DDR5 and 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which a lot of times when you hear that number, that is majority of the common player specs across the board. Whenever you see those Steam survey machines online, or not Steam survey, or Steam machine survey, just any Steam surveys where you have to list out like your hardware specs, like that's just everywhere. So a lot of times too, people will look at this and be like, okay, so it's not like as powerful as people make it to be. And unfortunately, I think the way how this is kind of set up, I don't think it's going to be as upgradable as people hoped it to be. Which, me looking at this, I don't think that they would for something like that if it's sort of upgradable. At least in my opinion, Valve is trying to like close their ecosystem apart too, but they're trying to fill some niche about this. So I am projecting this Steam machine price, unfortunately enough, to the way how a lot of market pricings are, especially for any PC hardware, it's going to be like what, at minimum $700.
Yeah, I mean,
Assess-
we're talking about the Steam hardware in today's pricing. I would say yes, around there.
Yeah, at least this is based on like best guesstimate of how I think what it might be as a minimum. I could be totally off the mark too, where they might actually be more expensive because it's mostly you're buying it for like a novelty of it being a Steam machine, which that itself could be a factor because the Steam controller is around $100.
But yeah, it's kind of weird in my eyes, only because you can build a PC most likely cheaper. And not only that, I believe you can install Steam OS yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't quite understand the value proposition of a Steam machine.
Yeah. However, if there's people in the comments that want to like kind of explain what they would use this Steam machine or what you find this more enticing, please comment below. We actually do want to know.
Yeah, I'm very curious because if you want a small PC, a console-sized PC, you can build that too, and then install Steam OS on it.
Yeah,
it'll be small, most likely smaller than the Steam machine.
Yeah, and if we want to like hear it, we've already heard like in this case the arguments of like, oh, most of the time people just don't want to be able to build a PC and they just want to get something that's cheaper. And unfortunately enough too, you could just get a pre-built with almost the same price here, with almost similar specs here, and you can flash out all of the OS or other software that's in that pre-built and then just install Steam OS on it.
And if you want to, like, there are machines that are smaller and can also be more powerful than a Steam machine.
Yeah,
and you can still install Steam OS on it. So I don't quite know where the Steam machine makes sense.
Right. So if anybody would like to comment about this, I would like to know. But here's at least some of the points that I think for the most part, I think the whole thing that would be the most important thing about this is that I believe Valve is trying to go for the Apple angle when it comes to making these hardwares. What do I mean by that is think of all the Apple products that people normally buy with their iPhone, the MacBook, and even like the fucking big ass like computer Macs too, and all the other hardwares that kind of support their ecosystem. Because I think this is what they're trying to bank on, and it's the fact that they're trying to sell you something that you are going to be part of the Steam ecosystem. Because mind you, besides the hardware,
that's
Steam
fine. I'm okay with that. Look, I'm okay with that. It's just that if Steam machine, the only difference between a normal computer and a Steam machine is the OS, the software, then it still doesn't make sense. With Macs, their software is a part of their ecosystem, but the hardware is locked to their software.
Right.
So you can't install a Mac, and a Mac isn't open source either, so you can't just install Mac on anything. So that's why Apple has the advantage, because they force you into an ecosystem. Steam doesn't. So that's why I don't understand.
Yeah, and it's like in general too, with the Steam OS being the Arch Linux based system too. I've also heard as well that they're getting really better at, in this case, improving the entire performance of the Steam OS itself, so it can actually run more games at almost like little to no frame rate drops, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's a lot of hoopla. There's still going to be some performance issues here and there.
Yeah, but would you say too, based on that too, it's gotten a lot better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're definitely in an age and a time where gaming on Linux is actually a serious thing.
Yeah. So if anything too, the Steam machine for what it is. Oh, hold on a second for comparison. So this is based on the PC games, like um, other stuff too. Expectations have been shifting around too, where it's like, oh, it's like towards a more realistic price target. At least the low gets around $1,000 mark. If Valve can hit around 800 to 900, or even 1,000 or 999, it still offer a decent value system overall and avoid dreaded fourth digits. I mean, it doesn't mean much to me.
No, it doesn't. You talk. I'm gonna go look up a pre-built machine somewhere and see its price.
Right. Because, like,
I'm gonna go look up Micro Center.
yeah, I mean, the big issue is the fact that, again, if you're trying to treat this Steam machine as a console, it doesn't make sense as a value proposition. If you try to look at this as maybe it's like a pre-built, it doesn't make sense as a value proposition either, too. However, the only thing that would be cool is the fact that it comes with Steam OS, but if you know how to work with computers, you can actually just install your own Steam OS on your own machine. And it doesn't even need to be your main computer. You could just build a separate other computer that could match the same performance and specs, either through a pre-built or build it yourself. It doesn't really matter too much too. Because the thing that I believe again, the Steam OS ecosystem is probably what they're trying to sell you on the most, especially if you have a dedicated library with all the Steam games purchases through there too. You're able to, like, I guess, have different modes and access to play your Steam games from like multiple areas of multiple sources at the same time too. Because let me think about this. How close do you think it is for Steam OS to kind of hit towards the threshold that they could also be like its own entertainment system as well? If it's
Entertainment system? Like, what do you mean?
like in this case too, that like it's able to access internet stuff, you could watch streams through there too, you could do all these other things. It's like it is effectively like a separate
that's not hard.
browser. Mm-hmm.
It's an OS that can operate as an OS. It's not a gaming specific OS, which is the thing here.
Mm-hmm.
That's Steam OS allows you to use browsers and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's no different than a normal desktop PC.
Mm-hmm. So, and I'm like thinking about this. Okay, what if that was the case then too, that you would spend this much as a way that you're trying to enhance your entire home entertainment system with, in this case, powered by Steam OS for people that are trying to find ways to keep it as like a closed network in their own home, like the same way how me and you we're working on like our own server network projects too. Would there be a use case then too for people that are getting into it, that they can look at his Steam machine as a entry point way of saying, oh, I can make this into an access node where I can access Steam games from a different source somewhere in my house now, something like that. I don't know if that's still a practical case either too, because have you looked at the PC pre-built pricing that you could probably build with similar specs?
I mean, I'll be honest. It still doesn't make sense in that case because it's still potentially overpriced, and I don't know how. I never used the OS, so I don't know how much you can truly do with it. Like, can you install Docker, or can you install a bunch of services on the machine? I don't know. I never used it.
Yeah, unless like someone actually like, unless this product does come out too, what I've already said for like the past 2 minutes ranting about this shit too, we genuinely do not know of what the kind of capabilities there are too. Hell, I probably wager too there'll be some crackhead network engineer that's going to crack this thing and it's actually going to be such a viable product, but not what it was intended for.
That's possible.
I have a feeling.
That's definitely possible, but I mean, looking just at the specs alone, you can't really do much with it realistically.
Yeah.
Like, if your main goal is to play games with it, you can't do much else, because 16 gigs in today's day and age is not much. Even though it's on Linux, it's still not much.
Yeah, that's why like I'm looking at these specs, and I feel like these specs would have been good. I'll say like maybe like 5 or 7
a couple years back.
ago. Yeah. But again, too, like I'm maybe we're just not the targeted audience for this, then, right?
I mean, we're not, but either way, just thinking about it, like what sense does it make? Is the question.
Yeah, that is true. But it becomes also the most ironic part about this too is because like despite the fact that it's probably going to be expensive too, every other console prices have also been going up as well too. Hell, apparently the Switch 2 is about to go up in pricing as they're being pressured by their higher ups too. And I believe they said that the Switch 2 they wanted this console to be sold at 500 instead of 450 retail, and that's already kind of a big jump. But now we also hear from the Xbox too, where let's see here, the Xbox Series X for 1 terabyte originally $500. For the same one, although it doesn't say terabyte on here too for different reasons I guess, is now $650 to get this. That is a $150 upcharge for something like that. So across the board too, I think a lot of consoles they are experiencing like $100 increase overall due to, in this case, market conditions, is what they're saying. I say I find that as a very convenient excuse based on like the brand here too, but it does have merit nonetheless.
No, I mean when you see RAM going up $100 for the same pack,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. And also when we hear in news too, like it's not just the fact that the availability of RAM is like straight up going up too. Everything else is going up just to like keep up the demand for it. Hell, our whole
Anything-
supply chain that
Yeah.
feeds into this is currently under strain right now, that they're forced to increase prices because they can't make enough to meet the demand.
You know,
Which-
not only RAM is the issue, SSDs are also an issue. Anything flash memory related, so SSDs,
Yeah.
they're also going up in price, and a lot of these devices use SSDs nowadays or flash memory of some sort.
Yeah.
So that's also a reason why it's going up in price. It's not like the normal mechanical drive of the days of yesteryear, you know?
Yeah. And it makes sense too that like things like this do happen. Does it suck overall? Absolutely, this blows. Especially for a
Like,
normal consumer.
Yeah, going back to the Steam machine, I think at Micro Center I found a comparable PC. We got a Ryzen 5 5500, 16 gigs DDR4, an AMD RX 7600, which my quick research shows that should be more powerful than the GPU in the Steam machine. 1 terabyte of NVMe SSD at $800, and it's pre-built.
At $800 pre-built. Yeah, so it's like you could get a similar machine.
This is also with Windows installed.
Yeah,
which usually increases the price. So $800, and this is why I think that it needs to be either this price or cheaper to make sense.
Yeah, because already even when I give it like a $700 price tag too, that's not like still a approachable price for a lot of people. Nor does it make sense for us as people that we love building computers. So,
Us for sure, because we know what we want to use our computer for is the thing.
Yeah, it's like we go to Micro Center too, and just like, do you guys need help with anything? It's like I know more than you.
Yeah, basically.
And then we just piss off. God damn. We pull a Ron Swanson to them. It's like, I know what we're doing. As we built the most jankiest server cluster that we have at your fucking house.
Best believe it.
God damn it. But it's fine anyways. But I see this as more like something else entirely too, because I do believe there's definitely like over investments based on which companies are looking at, such as Microsoft over investing in their legals, fighting off copyright shit too. When we talk about Power World, I'd say it's over investment, but it really is just expenditure that they have to do to want to protect their IP, I guess. And then for Microsoft, it is straight up like they're just fumbling around on their decisions. If we see the news that they're kind of repealing back like their AI implementation and all the money that went into it. Therefore, they're kind of having to have everything else kind of increase in price for their price. At least in my opinion, that's what's happening. But it could also just be hardware prices are just expensive as well. Sony itself too, I want to put that as an asterisk. It's like, yes, it makes sense that they did have to increase price for them to meet the market demand, quote unquote. Whoever the fuck is buying a PS5 for around $550 now. Or if you want the PS5 Pro, it's like 780. Oh no, I'm sorry, not 780. The PS5 regular is now $650 and the PS5 Pro is $900.
Yeah.
Currently, this console is the most expensive console that is available in the market, and it just hit immediately
$900.
for PS5
though?
Pro. I do not know. I really don't know.
How powerful is the PS5 Pro? Like, I don't
me s-
understand how it makes sense.
Let me see real quick at a cursory glance of the two system specs. What is the main difference here? PS5 Pro features a better or more powerful GPU, faster ray tracing, a 2 terabyte SSD, and memory bandwidth around like 576 gigabits per
Oh shit,
second.
it actually has a pretty top tier GPU.
Yeah. So that is the main.
shit. All right,
Yeah.
well, all right.
So
I'll accept it.
I'll accept it. Still egregious, but understandable, right?
Mm.
But you look at it from when they first released the PS5 Pro, which was $750, and now it's like $900. That is a lot. That shit is huge jump here, I will say. I get it, but the funny thing, I'm a meme about this harder trash take with this, is that I believe they're also doing this in part that they're trying to cover the losses of their over investments of failed game projects, i.e. the Concord tax.
You say that, but realistically, consoles are loss leaders.
Yeah, they are 100%
So-
loss leaders.
So if they cover the cost of all their losing investments, I mean, they're not really covering for anything.
Yeah, if anything, that's just something that like this makes at least for me, it doesn't make too much sense either about this. Just because like even if it was something that they're trying to recoup the cost of a Concord tax suit, that would honestly be a terrible reason, and it would actually push more people out from purchasing a console in the first place. If they just
Yeah.
outwardly said too that like we fucked up, because I think reportedly, they, at least from the numbers that I've seen so far, they've lost around $1 billion just because they were trying to, when they bought Bungie, and they're trying to keep the game Marathon alive. There's even news and reports about it too that Bungie itself has pivoted away from Destiny 2 development to try to save Marathon. Therefore, kind of, kicking to the curb all the Destiny 2 players in favor of this game, which I'll be really honest with you, I don't think it's bad, but at the same time, I'm just not interested in it too, because again, it's another fucking extraction shooter in a fucking in a gaming environment where there's so many extraction shooters now.
Yep.
So I would like to hear your takes about this too. Where do you think right now Sony is paying too much, or they're investing way too hard into trying to create a successful live service game?
Well, I wouldn't say they're investing too hard. I would say they're not investing in the correct places.
Right.
I mean, clearly, whatever they've been doing, I don't know, man, seems to follow a specific agenda that doesn't seem very popular.
Right, because like this is a very depressing thing about it too, because I only have information of the Steam database here too of like player accounts, because I don't know what PlayStation player accounts look like too, nor do I really have the time to like kind of look that up at a cursory glance. But for both games, Marathon and Destiny 2, they actually have very similar player counts. Marathon beats it by like right now 300 players. So it's not a big margin either. But the problem is like both of these numbers together, they can't actually beat Helldivers 2, which, if anything, it's not a Sony exclusive, but they were bought by Sony so that they can like help publish their game. And that game right now is currently sitting around like 29 to 30,000 players. So it's like, damn. So you have more people playing these games than Marathon and Destiny 2 combined. Now, some people can say too that like you look at this too, because Marathon is supposed to be a live service game, from their all-time peak being 88,000 and they're now at 11,000. This doesn't trend well for a lot of live service games, only because some people have said it probably better than me. For this to actually be a worthwhile venture for any studio to pursue live service game, it definitely needs to push past like a certain threshold of players, because 11,000 may sound impressive, but I don't think this is going to be enough to warrant like so much more development into this. And I don't know, Will I say if this is going to be a dead game? Probably not. I do notice that there are people that do genuinely like the game, but unfortunately, too, like I mentioned immediately too, I'm not speaking for everybody, but the game just doesn't look that appealing for me. Like versus straight up to the other equivalents is like Helldivers 2. Albeit, what's the main difference too? One, I fucking love the fact that it's a Starship Trooper parody. Two, fucking co-op. I love co-op games. However, not friend swap games as much as people's dismay. But I love the fact too that like there's a random chance too that I could have you playing with me and you just happen to call an orbital bombardment on my ass.
It won't be
Which is not-
random. It'll be very targeted.
God damn it. You fucking bitch. So this is something that I'm like thinking about this too, is that I'm looking at these two and I'm like, Marathon was supposed to be technically Sony's biggest game title to come out. And that's not doing that great compared like in retrospect of like what they need numbers wise to become successful. Right? Because like for a live service game like this too, what numbers would you say that like player engagement wise, what the number should be? Maybe to the level of Counter-Strike 2 or Dota 2 numbers? Hell,
Well, it definitely needs to be a lot.
Yeah.
Because Bungie is very well known to spend a lot of money in development now.
hell.
I mean,
I think-
Destiny was like $500 million, so
God damn. And there's even now too that like they're even debating too if the valuation when they bought Bungie now was even worth the price anymore. And that's saying something right now too. It's like, holy shit.
yeah.
So
I mean, they'll need a lot because not only that development took a lot of money, a lot of time, they gotta maintain it.
God damn, that's true too. Like, what is going on here with Sony too? It's like what I say. Are they allergic to money in some ways? Oh yeah, you know what game actually came out that was also on the fucking PS5 too? Fucking High Guard, and it immediately shut down 2 weeks later. It was another fucking live service game too. Mind you, it released on multiple platforms, so it wasn't Sony wasting money on that. But at the very end too, the only big game that a lot of people would get a PlayStation or any console game as of, let's say, like the last few months would have been like Resident Evil Requiem that came out February. But then that game is also released on a PC as well. So is there really a purpose to buy it?
No, I mean, realistically, nowadays there's little reason to buy a console of
Yeah,
any kind.
it's so fucking odd right now too, because half the time, here's the thing: we're on the fence on a couple things here. We think exclusivities actually kill gaming space in general, right? I think people should have the opportunity and freedom to choose if they want to play on a PC or a console. It just so happens the fact that it's honestly way better to play games on a computer than it is on a console nowadays. But now with like price increases happening too, what options do people really have right now too, as PC prices become effectively just as terrible as like console prices now?
Yeah, but the thing is, you can do a lot more with a PC than you can with a console. So true, at a side by side, if both are the same price, why not get a PC? You can play games, you can do work, you can do literally anything.
Right. Consoles, you're mostly just reliant on the fact that it's just going to be like just a game that you're gonna play the next big game on, right? The only thing
You gotta hope that they make games for that console.
yeah.
It's not that every game is gonna be made on every console.
Yeah. And you know what's like the depressing shit about this too? Because remember when I said too that February was like the biggest game that people would be anticipating for would have been like Resident Evil Requiem. The other one, the month after that was Crimson Desert and maybe Life is Strange Reunion. And the month after that, right now we're in April here, it would have been Pragmata. There's still some games that they're being released too, but all these games too, they don't really spark out for people as if these are going to be big. However, I am not also undermining the fact that Pragmata isn't successful. It is actually a great game, surprisingly enough too. A lot of people were shocked that it was able to be released, hell, even earlier than when they last projected it. So Good for them. Good on Capcom. And then you start looking at the other stuff that's coming in too. Albeit, I'm not listing out like games too that are like, oh, well, you didn't mention such as, for example, what about Outbound or the Indiana Jones games, Battlestar Galactica. I'm not going into detail for those two because unfortunately, that's not what really matters in this argument here too. What I'm trying to go for is the fact that like there's just straight up not that many big Sony, quote unquote, Sony exclusive title games that people are like looking forward to. Because like the next biggest one would be like Marvel's Wolverine, but that won't be until September, and it's by the same studio that did like the Spider-Man games on the PlayStation. So you have until then for that, and hell, November GTA 6 won't be coming out until November. So from this month all the way out to effectively the next quarter here, Victor, there's just not a whole lot of reasons for people to like, even if they want to buy a console, what games are there to play on a PlayStation that you couldn't just do on a PC? Now people say, oh, what about the Nintendo Switch 2? Well, don't you fucking lie to me about this. You're only buying a Switch 2 game because you can only play Nintendo games on a Switch 2 because they'll never import it to PC, you fucking trash. I hate it. It's all because of the fact that they take down every emulator site. Also, unfortunately enough, I do agree with some of them that they were trying to cash in on people for hosting emulators. God fucking damn it. If it's not obvious, we're currently in like a very awkward spot when it comes to like how consoles itself do the whole thing that when we were alive to the console wars was such a big thing too. That itself, the culture itself just died, right? And even if that was truly the case too, how many people actually have upgraded it from the PS4 to play PS5 games? The only thing people that I know would be like, I'll say close family members I know, like my cousins, but he's kind of gets the pass for that because he's also a game developer and he kind of also has the game consoles to help test out in the first place. So I legitimately don't know. Maybe the people in the comments do write down below today if you have upgraded from a console to, or if anything better, if you upgraded your console to be a PC player now, because now you realize the fault in your ways. But hell, and the ironic part about this too is that I think from looking at this, despite how much Microsoft kind of messed up on a lot of their shit too, their new CEO of whoever is leading the Xbox decision is kind of repealing back a lot of the games, or repealing back on a lot of like price increase decisions that they had to do, such as back the Game Pass. They actually dropped the pricing of it. Actually, some people say, oh, this is a recession indicator. It's like, no, they just realized too that the fucking price for the Game Pass was just way too much. However, the best way that they said too that the only way they had to do it was like, I think they had to take off like big AAA title games off of the Game Pass. So therefore Call of Duty is no longer on Game Pass, which is kind of funny in my opinion, but it is what it is, right? Because you have that, and again, the Summer Game Fest should be coming around the corner too, and we also know that holy fucking shit, Gears of War is coming back. I wasn't a Gears of War fan in the first place, but there is a fan base for them and they are stupidly excited for E-Day. There's many more too that I could kind of go over to. There's honestly a big list of game titles that I see on here, but straight up, the most common factor that I see with a lot of these titles too, that even though that these are like big titles, they always have it next to them that it's also available, going to be released on a PC. Like, yeah, having a console now has become such a detriment to one person's like accessibility to play games. And fuck me, games are still just as expensive right now too, and they're they're begging on the fact too that if GTA 6 releases too, and if it's going to be $80 game, that's going to give a green light for all of these companies to make the brainhead decision to now charge their games $80 when that's never going to happen. How people are going to like buy your games at that price in the first place. I don't know. With GTA 6 too, is it overhyped that it's going to be the biggest thing out there that might change gaming space, or do you think that like it's just going to be like a standard release title game and everybody that tries to copy it is just going to kill themselves?
I mean, there's a couple ways of looking at this. I think it will be a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe overhyped, I guess, but most definitely will be a big game. However many, like 13 plus years in the making, you know.
Mm.
So people have high expectations for it.
Mm.
Now it's selling for $100 or however many you said.
It says 80, but there's a lot of people that are looking at this being like, they want this to be sold at $100. I'm like, what the fuck?
You know, like I think for GTA only, it may make sense. Only for GTA. If everybody else starts copying GTA, they're a little fucking dumb because they're not making a GTA sized game. You
Yeah.
know?
They
They
just
can make
wanted
their
to-
own shitty little, not even AI slop. They're literal slop. You know, they probably don't even use AI and they still make slop
God.
from those big AAA companies. You know, like it's definitely not worth even the
Yeah.
$60 they charge for it. So what makes them think they can charge like anything more?
Right? And it's already a boneheaded decision to even go for that too, when straight up the market has been telling these guys that nobody is going to buy these games. It's like they're trying to increase the price of the game because they are not getting enough volume, but doing that would decrease the volume of sales that you will potentially get.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know which MBA student like, is running these game companies, but they really need a lot more experience.
Yeah, because what the fuck is this? Like, why is this a norm now where like new games are pushing towards $80 price tags? Like, this is insane. Like, what is going on? I blame Nintendo for this too, because they did actually push the envelope at $80 with their, I believe, the Mario Kart game. I believe it's Mario Kart, or it could be Donkey Kong.
I don't blame. Here's the deal: like Nintendo has leverage, which is that they're the ones that make games specifically for their console. That means you're sucked into their ecosystem.
Right.
You have to buy Nintendo a Switch or device, a console, in order to play their games. Other companies can't do that. So you're forced to buy, which is why they can charge $80 for it. For other companies, other game companies, people have a choice; they can buy it or not.
Yeah, and it's like, and the only thing that also sucks is Nintendo hardly gives any sales for any of their older titles too, which is really fucking dumb in my opinion. But I
Well,
guess they want to get the
no.
most amount of money possible.
I mean, dumb, yes. I mean, it's not great that they don't have any sales, but like I said, they're just in total control of their games and their consoles.
Yeah, like I said, or if anything, I understand. I just think for the most part, it just fucking blows as a consumer.
It does, and I'm surprised people are still buying Nintendo stuff of any kind.
Yeah, dear lord. Because as soon as they release the next Pokemon game, it's like, oh boy, another one. Oh. Like we just saw with another one that they're coming out to, and it's just like people have been complaining about Nintendo about the fact that they're just making all these games too and not improving. Yeah, you guys are the same people that criticize that you will still buy the same fucking games over and over. What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Yeah, going into that topic, it's like people will complain about that, but yet companies nowadays are just remaking games or remastering games. There are literally like no new games nowadays.
At least coming from like the big AAA space.
Yeah, we're excluding indies.
Yeah,
but
we will
there's
cover that.
literally there's no new games nowadays. Everything is literally the same or literally a remake or remaster.
Yeah,
just like Halo. Oh man, the combat evolved. Oh, fucking silly.
It caused us so much pain just remembering the fucking gameplay stuff that we saw.
It's only because it only pains me because 343 now Halo Studios have stated that they wanted to create their own Halo storyline, or they wanted to remake the whole Halo series. I was okay with that. You know, it'd be better for them to remake the Halo game in their own and like create the story in their own way.
Which is like for other people that sounds awful.
Because them building on top of whatever Bungie did, Bungie was not. Let me be clear: Bungie did not make a good story. They just put things quickly together. Okay?
Yeah.
Even though it was a great game and everything, and even though the story was very memorable and nostalgic, I think that was partly because we were young, not because I think the story was actually like
great
like
and
that
whatnot.
Great.
Yeah.
Because Bungie legitimately just put things together as quickly as they could.
Yeah.
During that time.
Yeah. And maybe that's like you know what? Maybe that is the impressive feat that they were able to create something kind of cohesive together at such like short notice as well.
So, yeah. And so 343, well, realistically, not good story, right? Just because even with a proper team and everything, they still couldn't make a coherent story.
Yeah, look what
Even with
happened.
a proper team and a proper deadline, you know, like these games were not made in like a few months. They definitely had plenty of years in between each of them.
Yeah, and it's just like holy shit.
Okay, either way, back to what I was saying. Like they most definitely could have remade Halo in their own eyes, and I would have been okay with that. But no, fucking Combat Evolved is just an actual remake, and it's barely even a remake. All the dialogue and everything
It's the same.
from what they previewed to us is the exact same as the original Halo.
Like, it's like why do the remake if it's still the same? Apparently, they said the only difference is there's a couple missions too that they have added that wasn't in the original. I'm like,
Okay.
okay.
And that's supposed to be an achievement.
Yeah, it's like
You literally took the old game and then just added a couple things and then said this is our accomplishment.
yeah. Oh, and also the fact that they also introduced like, oh, we also improved the gameplay by adding sprinting in this game too. Is like you guys just effectively killed the game at all too, because now you go through these levels and it's like, oh, you're going through this way faster than normal because the original game didn't have sprinting.
Mm-hmm. Either
So,
way, I see that. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, all the mechanics they add, all the levels, whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't take me off as much as the fact that it's literally Halo Evolved with better graphics. That's literally it.
Yeah. Hell,
Halo Combat Evolved with better graphics. Nothing different.
yeah. If we want to argue about this too, I do believe that at least like the new Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resync too. Yes, it is by definition for us, it is a remake. But when we see it, there's actually really decent graphic improvements. There's actually better gameplay stuff. At least for the most part, they didn't say that it was going to be a remaster. At least
They should have. It is a remaster. It is not a remake, in my definition. Just like Halo.
Yeah.
Halo is not a remake, as much as they like to call it a remake. It's a remaster. It's literally the same game with better graphics.
Oh, right. Sorry. I think I mixed up the definition whenever we were doing this before too. Fuck me.
But no, the Black Flag, a remaster. I don't care. Resync, there's another word for remaster.
Yeah. Because here's the thing about it. I think Black Flag, at least when they showcased us the updated gameplay and combat, it actually looks pretty fun. Looks better than the original, for sure.
I mean, Halo has updated mechanics, but it's still the same game.
Yeah.
Same thing with Black Flag. But then I need to see if they changed anything. I mean, like the general idea of being a pirate and sailing the seas is going to be the same, obviously. But I want to see if the ships are different, if the sailing mechanics, fighting mechanics are different for the ships.
Yeah. And so we're going literally back to right now. What I think is happening a lot of times. Ooh, sorry about that. But I think right now we're seeing in this case that there are definitely players that are actually voicing their disposition of the way how the AAA gaming space is trying to take them to. Like, we don't want the same thing over and over again. How do I know that they don't want the same thing? Let's look at the most recent indie games that came out too, such as Slay the Spire 2. Hell, actually, I won't even use that one. That's not reason. Subnautica 2 is different, and it's only an early access. This game has around almost 100,000 players playing this shit. And then you have, at an all-time peak, 467,000 players. And I will say this, kudos to Unknown Worlds Entertainment being able to get this game out, especially with the literal laughingstock that was Krafton CEO trying to avoid paying their bonus.
Yeah, that was just fucked, man. That's
like
I think the worst thing is you told me that you used ChatGPT to find a way to not pay these people. That was the worst part. I mean, like the CEO not wanting to pay him. Honestly, that's like that happens a lot. I mean, fucked up, but it happens a lot. But using ChatGPT to figure out ways to do that is amazing.
It's trying to do it quote unquote legally.
And
it's like, still, this game is trumping over all these big title games about it too. And the fucking thing about this is, I believe the pricing of this. Yeah, the pricing of this game is only $30. Let's do a little bit of math here, right, Victor? Because we love to see what kind of numbers that they would experience with this. So we take, let's say, Subnautica 2, that's $30, and we multiply that with I'll say the all-time peak, because that's probably the only way how we could see this too. And we multiply that by this number, all right, we get around, they get made over $14 million in sales from this alone, not including taxes. Seems pretty decent too. Now, let's look at fucking Marathon that came out that was also $40. Oh, wait, it was $40? Oh shit, I thought this was something that they charged at $70. Never fucking mind. But doesn't matter. We're gonna look at the $40 price tag. Actually, yeah, it's much of a comparison then too. So $40, son of a bitch. $40, multiply that by, what was the number I said for all-time high? 88. They only made around $3 million in sales. So a game that was made by a AAA studio is being outcompeted by a smaller studio that has made 11 million more dollars than to fucking Bungie. This is something that's very absurd in many different ways. However, this number itself too, it's not accounting for any microtransaction, which for everyone's purposes too, I will never count those statistics because that is there to purposely inflate the valuation of a product, in my honest opinion. Only because the moment that you buy the product is the only time the sales should be counted. I don't care if DLCs count as part of sales. I find that as a disgusting way of artificially boosting the game or your product's performance just because people are continually spending on the game. That's just my opinion. However, that opinion changes if it's a free-to-play game. Then we have to look at microtransaction sales. But because these are products that have, in this case, an upfront price tag that you buy to get the game, I'm only going to count that upfront price tag. I won't ever count the DLCs too, because reasonably so, people should not be spending even more money on a game they've already purchased. Am I a little bit too harsh on my stance on that? Probably.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because or else the game companies will continue to milk us and milk the people.
Yeah. Now, the only other difference is that I think it becomes like, oh, but you have Forza Horizon 6 that is a $70 game, which, all right, let's do the numbers on that. $70 game, and how many players are playing it at this all-time peak? Around 284,139 players. That is pretty substantial. It only beats Subnautica 2 by like a factor of like $4 or $5 million. Mind you, I believe the fact that Forza Horizon 6 is actually a great game. This is something that like people wanted, another great Forza game. They really wanted this too. And if anything, Graph shows otherwise. People don't like to trust graphs or don't want to see graphs because it also proves the point that whatever project that they believe in is going to flop. I don't give a shit. This is how we're always going to look at successes of any project or titles ever, because otherwise too, what is the point of all this too? If you're trying to give us a price tag game that's also a live service, but your all-time player count, sales volume-wise, does not make up for the initial cost that you have already invested into it, even if you account for DLC sales, it's not going to cover your expenses. So there's just a lot of numbers about this too that like, if you really want to piece this together too, how we really start to see how Marathon becomes now more of a failure of a live service game as the year, not even as years at this point, because I don't think they'll last another month at this point too. Albeit Bungie is trying to get this on a lifeline, but a lot of times as well too, this is actually a detriment to them just because they didn't fully succeed on it too. Now, I could be wrong about this. They could probably pull a win out of their ass and actually make a really good product, right? There are chances of that happening. I won't ever discount that out. But at the same time, you're looking at this is like really dire for them. I'm only picking on Bungie, for example, on this too, because they're really pushing hard on Marathon too. Ever since too, when Marathon got hit with a oopsie daisies, we may have plagiarized one artist from their asset, and we had to like spend an even additional amount to deal with the settlement and also trying to remove all those assets. More time, more production hours into it. There was just so many things that I think this game was practically set up to fail on release. That's just me. I do think that it may have a chance to survive as it, hopefully they continue to develop, but the rate that this is going on to, Sony has to like cancel so many other projects just to sustain their I believe is like their live service title game that they want to succeed in order for them to get more money from. But it's not looking great. Hell, Xbox, sure, there's not much going for it. But now with Forza Horizon 6, it's like, holy fuck shit. But that doesn't matter too. Most Xbox
Yeah.
players are PC players.
Xbox is just a PC in the end, so
Yeah.
there's that.
So, yeah. So I'm just shrugging my shoulder at like, we're looking at this right now as the current popular games that are releasing into this. We don't see any other bigger titles outside of Forza Horizon 6 that have made it up there too. Because you still have games like Marvel Rivals, fucking Dota 2, Counter-Strike 2 that still is popular. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I really need to understand too what the mindset was. Maybe this is something that when we talk about fighting games too, that like whenever 2XKO, whenever that game got released too, it was actually a very decent and good game. I'd still love to watch it as well. But they said too that like it didn't reach the numbers that they were hoping for it to reach. And I had to legitimately ask like, what numbers were you trying to reach? Were you trying to like meet the numbers of fucking Street Fighter 6? Were you trying to assume everybody in your Riot ecosystem would play like 2XKO? Like you have millions of players playing League of Legends and Valorant to play a fighting game? Yeah, that's asking a lot for people, especially even within fighting game communities, because let's be honest too. I would ask you, you look at the game 2XKO, which is a tag team 2D based fighting game. Would you give this game a try? Yes or no?
No.
There we go. It's just straight up that simple too, of like, if you were to ask anybody about this too, they could have given you like a reasonable answer of not everybody is down to play a tag team based fighting game unless like you're trying to call back like the OG players that play MVC2 or MVC3. But again, those are like still a small amount of people that love playing those games, albeit I don't think back then it was that small. But if we try to compare it to right now, the current space that fighting games are right now, Street Fighter 6 has, I believe, around 300 mil or 300,000 players intending right now to be in this year's Evo alone to like for tournament brackets. That's a lot too. And then we're not accounting for the fact that Street Fighter 6 might actually have even more players. Oh, sorry, I just knocked my microphone out. Oopsies. I'm just looking at this too. I'm looking at the fact what Marathon is trying to achieve. Like, they're going into this market already at such a terrible time where I don't think they're gonna be able to like pull the market demographic that they're hoping for. Because Marathon is like, it's an extraction shooter, but why would people play that when they can just play PlayerUnknown or PUBG? Hell, you can't even get people out of Apex to fucking play your game. That's something else entirely too. It's supposed to be an extraction shooter that's hero based. You couldn't even pull people out from Apex. That still has 84,000 players on that shit. Why are there people still playing on it? Whenever I saw too that they had such a terrible like pricing structure on it too. Unless I'm thinking about Rainbow Six Siege. That one might be a little bit different. But other than that too, you can't even pull players out from other games to play your games if you wanted to too. Just because, again, I said it already with Marathon, it just doesn't look appealing.
Yeah.
Like that is like the harsh truth about a lot of this too, is that like I believe that you can make it any game that you want to, but to expect that you're going to be say to whatever I make is going to take the players from other games to play my game, you best better well make a great game. That is the reality of all this too, because you could just say, oh, we're just gonna make some generic one too. Hell, actually, sorry, I used the two worst examples to say that otherwise, as they're both hero shooters, but they're different. I should have said there are still people that are playing Arc Raiders. That's also extraction shooters. So you couldn't even pull people off from there to play a Marathon. Am I being overly harsh about my statement about this too? Because I feel like I am in some instances,
I
but
don't think so.
I mean, it's just the reality of the market of gaming here, right?
Yep.
Like, it's like, it's the same ones where like people want to believe that they can make a difference, which I'm like, you can make a difference. We're not saying that you can't, but I'm just giving you the reality of this is what you've already released, and this is the result of it. I think this is considered a failure. You may not consider it as a failure, but I'm pretty sure the market would say otherwise. Especially, can you yourself reasonably keep maintaining the game for it to finally be successful? And for how long is that going to take? Because right now, games are very much expensive to make, especially the bigger the studio you are. Hell, we even see fucking what happened with Ubisoft. I don't know. I'm just looking at this being like, we're at such an amazing time for games right now too, where you seeing so many other smaller titles actually being able to punch upwards. With Slay the Spire 2 and Subnautica 2, both indie title games that are just like fucking swinging up and actually just toppling like any big industry title games. Again, impressive feat by any metric. And I hope too that like we're gonna see more stuff about it too. Because let's be honest, we love in this case the indie title games. And hopefully whatnot too. Hopefully this actually lights a fire in some of the bigger studios actually trying to make something new. Because this is what it's telling me too. We've seen all these big indie title games actually making it big. And then it's just like, yeah, we actually just want to see more newer games. No matter if it's like fucking weird or janky too, we just want to see something new. And that's being reflected in the games that are becoming popular too. Like, I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to say right now for this too to get that point across, because there are definitely some people that are working at these dev studios that are lashing out that, oh, you guys are a bunch of chuds. You guys are doing all this too just because you don't like, in this case, that we're pushing all this stuff for games. And we're like, no, your games just suck.
But true,
Yes.
we don't like
Yes.
what they're pushing out because their games are garbage. They're pushing out garbage.
Yeah. And lo and behold, people are not don't want to buy garbage. It's like, I'm baffled in a lot of this too. Maybe they were trying to push on this too, that they're trying to put pity on game developers too. Hopefully, if you pity us enough to, they'll eventually buy your games. Maybe that was the push they were going for a lot of these statements. But at the same time, fuck no. People,
No, man.
it's like you're trying to make games and you're not appealing to your customer base. You're not appealing in this case that you care about their money. You care about the time they want to put into the game. That is the main thing I've seen so far too. And that's why I still have issues with even like some free-to-play games where they do not respect your time. However, that's how they make money. So I could be upset about it, but I understand what they're doing. Whereas you guys, you're just not doing either of those things. Where the people that are putting all this stuff to, it's just crazy, really. And I do hope.
Agree. It is.
Like you would think that like you look at this, it's like this makes 100%. It would make 100% make sense to be like, oh, I released a game, it didn't do well. At least we got some money out of it too. Albeit, yeah, we probably burnt almost towards like $1 million. Wait, not $1 million. It was almost $1 billion making this project title. Actually, because holy shit, that is true. Because apparently, too, Sony did say that they had to record, say that around like $700 million against Bungie as a loss, and the marathon only sold for $3 million. That is, oh my god.
I don't know, man.
Okay, if we give the benefit of the doubt, maybe they made some money off of like DLCs and maybe microtransactions, but even then, that doesn't cover at all of their development costs, which is insane. Like, they needed this game to be like the next Counter-Strike 2. That is the numbers that they were hoping for to happen, and it didn't. So
yeah, that's hard. It's hard to make a big game and then expect to make a bunch of money from it.
yeah, like I said, reality hits people in many different ways. So hopefully too, we're going to the end of this. I hope you all enjoyed my rant too about like sometimes me questioning our own gamers like purchasing decisions too, especially the Nintendo players. You know exactly what I mean when I say this too. And don't you fucking deny it either, because I know you fall for this shit as well.
I don't fall for none.
Yeah, because you don't fucking do shit with anything with the Victor. The hell?
Exactly.
But thank you all for tuning into me kind of just shitting on, especially like the whole narrative that like, oh, the game should have been successful, why didn't it? And just here's the fucking reality. Your games, if you make shitty games, you're gonna get shitty results. Make great games, you get great results. Look at Slay the Spire 2. Look at Subnautica 2. You can't see the difference, or you can't see the reason why it was successful. I'm just saying too, maybe you need to reevaluate your whole decision structure. Just saying. But thank you again for tuning in for another Hot or Trash podcast. There was a lot of trash and hot takes that I said throughout this entire episode. So comment below which one do you agree with the most, and which one that I am objectively wrong about some things, but I will only listen to them as I'm always correct. Anyways,
That's what I
thank-
like to hear.
thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you have a wonderful night and have a happy Memorial Day if you live in the U.S. If you live outside the U.S., happy Mondays.
Happy what?